All right. Well, thank you very much, Sergio Reyes, for coming on to the BoxingBar.com, 92 Olympian, man. We'll get into that in a bit. But first few questions, man. Let's get to know you a bit. Where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas, almost 45 years ago. Yeah.
Growing up there, what was it like?
So, I come from a big boxing city, or it was a big boxing city. Growing up, I actually was in the same gym as Donna Curry, Steve Cruz, Gene Hatcher, Troy Dorsey. Those are six of the former world champions that have come out of Fort Worth. So I came out of a big boxing gym. It was owned and operated by David Gorman, who has passed away, but he was a big boxing person here in the area.
And what were you like as a kid growing up? How were you as a kid growing up?
Well, I started boxing when I was 7 years old. My uncle just took us to the gym. He wasn't even our coach then. He was just our transportation. His brother boxed in Mexico, and then he got interested in coaching, helping out. And then he became our coach and became one of the top amateur coaches in the area. And I ran cross country and played a little bit of soccer. And I did it actually just for the running part of the boxing. I was able to save an hour of my time. That way I get my running out the way at school, in the class periods, whether it be soccer or the track.
And even though it's been such a long time ago that you got into the sport, what was that first feeling like, if you remember it? What was that first feeling like when you first went into a boxing gym, and what attracted you to keep going and keep going from there on?
Just I guess the being competitive in it, and one of my first bouts. Well, actually, one of my first 9 bouts. And my very first loss was against Paulie Ayala. And I ended up fighting him 16 times. And I beat him on his last amateur fight, which was my fight to go to the make the Olympic team in 1992. Me and him fought lots of times here in the area. We would eliminate each other, actually, in the local tournament. So one of us wouldn't advance to the bigger tournament. And then one time they separated us, and we both did good. I think he ended up going on with the championship in the amateur tournament, and I went to the semifinals. But it was just, I saw, people like Donna Curry and Steve Cruz were ahead of me, and fight on television. Actually, I think back in the day, back in the late 70s, maybe early 80s, they used to have a amateur boxing on like ABC Wild World of Sports. And I believe I've seen Steve Cruz fight Richard Savage, if you remember that name, amateur. And it just, I felt like, hey, I want to get there one day, and I stuck with it.
What was it like your first amateur fights when you started boxing? Did it kind of come natural to you, or was it something that you had to work at really hard to become good at?
I believe it just came natural, but I feel like I was always short, and so I always had to work extra hard in the gym in order to be competitive. I always felt like I fought guys that were way better than me or have more natural born talent. One thing I believe in is getting in good shape, and most of the times I lose the first round, come back in the second round, and I finish them off in the third, or win big in the third and win the fight. And it's pretty simple for me, just get in good shape. And my uncle Arturo, who trained here in Fort Worth, this is the first time I had seen it. I mean, of course I was young. But all the other coaches would just stand there with their hands up in the air, and you would hit the pad. My uncle would throw back punches at us, and we learned how to block punches and counter punch, and it helped tremendously in my fights.
I bet it kept your instincts sharp.
Yeah, it did. And my uncle was a real strict coach, mean and strict, and didn't let us cut any corners. I mean, every day, if I wasn't running in soccer practice or track practice, we were running after gym practice. And we done 9 o'clock at night, we'd go straight to the track after the gym, and he'd make us run some laps. But we hated it. Of course, we were kids, and we didn't know the difference. We didn't know. But hey, when we got ready to fight, we won. That's what mattered. Our team, Gorman, we win team trophy every weekend, every week that we fought, every tournament.
And what a lot of people don't understand, like us fans that don't understand about you guys or anybody in sports where you have to make weight, all the sacrificing that you have to do, all the, you can't eat this or that, or you can't hang out, after certain hours because you got this or because you're too tired from boxing. There's a lot of stuff I bet you sacrificed, and you had to grow up quicker than anybody else, especially at a young age like yourself.
Exactly, and growing up, having to hold my weight, having to hold the diet, I had to educate myself and eat the right foods. Even though my mother, who cooks great Mexican food, I had to skip her meals and ask her to make me some healthy meals, and it was tough. But I had goals in life when I was a young kid, and I was fortunate that I accomplished. Was on the All American team for 3 years in a row, and got to see the world free.
Being like that young and stuff like that, what were your parents like as far as you being in the boxing? Did they applaud it? Were they kind of skeptical of you doing it? What was it like for them, as parents to have their son, being in a sport like boxing?
Actually, my parents supported me. My mother would come see me fight. My father wouldn't. He was kind of like against violence. Kind of hard to understand, but yeah, he sometimes he would go to the men's room. He wouldn't be able to be there and watch us actually go fighting. And my mother would be in the stands yelling, giving the support her and my aunt Marty, which was my uncle's wife. But yeah, when we're kids, everybody else was hanging out, and myself, I was staying home, getting ready for the next fight, whether it be the next weekend or a month away. I believe in being ready.
Did you personally or anybody in your household actually watch boxing? And if so, who were some of the boxers that you used to look up to?
Oh, back in the day, Salvador Sanchez, Roberto Duran, Julio Cesar Chavez. Uh, but out of my gym was, Donna Curry, Steve Cruz, Gene Hatch, and Troy Dorsey, 4 world champions.
As you moved into the ranks in your tournaments in your amateur career, and you got up to be to the Olympic trials until where you got to be to the finals, and you were in your last fight before going into the Olympics or the finals. What do you remember about that day? What do you remember about going into that fight on that day?
I used to listen to some music and the headphones, like there was a headphone, and just relax, calm, and I knew I was ready and shape. And Coach Sanders was my coach, my Marine Corps boxing coach, and he was the Olympic coach in 1984. And when I made the Olympic team in '92, he also made the team as a coach. So I was just relaxed, and I was fighting Paulie in the finals at the Olympic trials in Worcester, Massachusetts, and staying focused. I ended up being a decision there and went on to the box off. And he actually got chosen to box me again at the box off as the most noteworthy opponent, and declined the invitation, which is, how could you give up an opportunity to go, have one more chance to go to the Olympics? And matter of fact, Montel Griffin, who lost at the trials, went on to the box office as the most noteworthy opponent at 178 in 1992, and he beat the champion. Then was I think it was Jeremy Williams, and he went on. So probably had that same opportunity, but he turned it down. So Sean Fletcher was chosen, and I beat him at the box office. I was the only one to give my opponent an A count in that tournament. Out of the 12 divisions back in the day, it was 12. Now it's 11.
Well, and I'm supposed to have Montel on in a little while too, so I can't wait to talk to him.
Oh yeah, he's a good guy. Me and him we're Facebook friends, and we actually there's a page on Facebook of boxers from our era from '89 to '92, and we just all get on there, and topics are brought up about who was the hardest puncher and who was your toughest fight and who was your most controversial fight. Just different topics. And I mean, you have 100 comments like in a couple of days, then someone else brings up another topic. But yeah, me and Montel stay in touch.
After you won the tournament there and you went on to the Olympics, man, what was your feelings like at that point when you won that fight and you went on to the Olympics? Was it kind of like a surreal type of thing? Did you know? Were you pretty confident it was going to happen like that? I mean, what was your attitude towards going into the Olympics? What were you like there?
I was confident it was going to happen, and just something I shot for. But when I got there, it was just like an overwhelming feeling to be able to walk with the USA team at the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. And that was my dream as a kid, and a lot of kid boxers, that's their dream, to be able to go to the Olympics and do that walk with the team. And I got pictures of that, and I go through them. I got them on Facebook. I post them every anniversary, every 4 years on an Olympic year, and brings back memories. It's been over 22 years now, but it's just an awesome feeling to have been there.
And getting there to Barcelona, man, I've talked to Montel Griffin from your '92 Olympic team. I've talked to Chris Bird. I've talked to Pepper Riley. and they've given me that little rundown of what they thought of Barcelona and that whole just being there, period, and just what that feeling was like. What was it like for you? Who did you mostly hang around with once you were in Barcelona? What did you do? How did you feel going into before the first fight, just being there in Barcelona?
We got there a week before, and we did go out to the beach. Something different for us because we get there to the topless beach. So, hey, we're out there and topless, but no. But of course, we're there for business first. And I was hanging out with Pepe Riley. He was my roommate. And it was 4 Mexicans on the team in 1992. It was myself, Pepe Riley, Raul Marquez, and Oscar de la Hoya. We actually hung out, because we're the Hispanics on the team. And, we got along well with Chris Bird and Montel Griffin. And, Eric Griffin was on the team. And Ryan Forrest, the other guys that were on the team, too. It was all business. And my parents were able to go. We sold over 2,000 dozen tamales. But for them, they would afford to be able to take, the flight. Because actually 7 members of my family were able to go to Barcelona and be there, supporting me. My trainer, who I grew up with training, his wife, my mother, my father, my brother Jaime, my brother George, my sister Norma. And so we had a good time.
And what were they like? Like your friends there, like the guys you kicked it with, like you said, Pepe and Raul Marquez and Oscar. What were they like back then? As kids or as young men, growing up there in this sport.
I knew these guys before. We had already been on teams. We traveled to Moscow. We traveled to Hawaii to fight Korea. We traveled to Florida to fight Germany. So I had been around these, Raul and Oscar and Pepe. But Oscar used to even before the Olympics, he used to tell us that he's gonna be a millionaire one day. He made it, didn't he?
Yeah, he made it there many times over too.
Yeah, many times over. Yeah, and we used to hang out at the malls before going to the Olympics in different places. And we'd meet women, like younger girls at our age, and Oscar would tell them this and this and that. And hey, they're probably thinking, yeah, right. Then, but look at him now. And Raul's doing good himself. I think he's commentating for Showtime now. I've seen him nearby my hometown in Dallas. They were doing a show, and he was there.
Yeah, and actually Pepe is he's head trainer of Ray Beltran, who's going to be fighting Terrence Crawford for the title, I believe, next month in November. So
yeah, I've seen different, because me and Pepe are friends also on Facebook. But I don't see him post that much on Facebook. But I did see that I think he's done some personal training. But yeah, he's also involved in the boxing, which is good. He's a head trainer, huh? Wow, that's awesome.
And going into your first match on that first day, man, you guys all being there and or you guys got all the pressure there for you guys to come back with gold to your country. What was that like for you? What were your feelings going into the first fight? Was it just another day in the office for you, or did you feel that added pressure?
No, there was an added pressure because it was the Olympics, but they had, I want to say 4 or 5 were actually chosen or picked to win gold, and I was actually one of them. In 1990, I had won gold medal at the Goodwood Games, and it ranked me number 1 in the world. In 1991, when the rankings came out, and me and Eric Griffin were the only 2, even though Oscar won the gold medal, and Tim Austin too, at the Goodwood Games, but they only ranked me and Eric Griffin as number 1 in the world. But going into the Olympics, there was a little more pressure, but they changed the scoring system on it. They changed it from pencil and paper to a computerized scoring system.
Oh, that's right, they did, because after the Roy Jones thing, I believe, in the '88 Olympics.
Exactly, because after Roy Jones, who beat this guy up pretty bad, loses the decision, but still gets outstanding boxer of the tournament. How can you lose a fight and still be considered outstanding boxer? But of course, they were trying to kill him.
How far did you get into the Olympics? How many rounds in did you go?
Just the first fight. I won my first fight against Puerto Rico, and then I fought Gwang Sik Lee from North Korea on my second fight. In Barcelona, they had you could come back to the corner and look up to your left or right, and you could see this actual score of the round. It was being posted like on a basketball scoreboard. So I come back after the first round, and I'm losing 3-1, and then I'm listening to my coach what to do. And what happened in my fight, going back to the dressing room. I'm in the dressing room. Eric Griffin is the co-captain of the team, and he's fight number one. I'm fight number four, and he loses. The decision is red. He lost to a guy from Spain, and so I jumped up and I said, "Man, I got one more. I got to get ready. My fight's almost up. I'm almost about to get ready to get in the ring." And right there and then, I changed my boxing strategy to try to be a boxer instead of a puncher like I was, in order to, because they were saying the inside punches weren't counting in the computer scoring system. More like the jabs and straight right hands were counting. So I changed my style, and I come back in the first round, and I look up, and I'm losing 3-1, and then I come back in the second round. Now I'm losing like 8-3, and I'm thinking, man, how am I gonna get this? I'm like third round. I'm like, but I didn't give up hope. I went out there, and in the next round, I ended up scoring 5 points, and he scored 3, but I still lost the fight. And so, that was the end of my amateur career. It was my goal to go to the Olympics and come out of Fort Worth, Texas. A bunch of great fighters have come out of Fort Worth, and proud to say that I'm the only guy who's ever went to the Olympics, and that's every kid's dream as a young boxer.
Was it easy for you to adjust to all the media and all that extra attention that the Olympics brings? Was it easy for you to do that?
I adjusted just like all the other guys on the team. Everybody's getting their share of the publicity. I mean, Oscar wasn't Oscar until after he won the gold medal. Before then, he was the top guy in the USA in his division for the last 3 or 4 years, but he wasn't who he is now or who he became. But we're all there, enjoying it, especially because the Dream Team was there, the first Dream Team, and we got to meet them, and they actually came to one of our fights and kicked it in the dressing room with us.
No way. You're talking about the basketball Dream Team with Jordan and Johnson and all them.
Yeah, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone. They actually came to our fight. They came to our dressing room, the USA team, and hung out and supported our team. So that was pretty cool. Hey, we got the biggest of the biggest in basketball coming to see us, hang out with us. So that was one of the coolest things that happened in the Olympics in 1992 for us.
And were you there the moment that Oscar, won the gold medal and they did the ceremonies and all that stuff? Were you there in attendance, and were you there to see his reactions thereafter?
Oh yeah, I was there, and I was there hollering and about 20, 30 feet away from the ring. He's fighting the Romanian guy.
Oh, that's right. It was a Romanian guy, and that guy I think that guy had beaten him in the past or something like that.
He had beaten him the year before in 1991 at the World Championship. And so, it was a close fight, but Oscar wins in the third round and takes, I think he gave the guy an 8 count in the third round or something like that happened in the third round, and he won. And so when Oscar, of course, it was only 4 Mexicans on our team, myself, Pepe Riley, Oscar, and Raul Marquez. So we had some Mexican flags with us. Our families did actually. And, they're waving them with the Mexican flag because we're Mexican Americans. And so when Oscar wins the gold medal, I go grab the flag from my family, the Mexican flag, and I take it to Oscar in the ring when he's actually in the ring. I had access to be up real close, as close as I could, And so I hand him the flag, the Mexican flag. And so now he's, got the Mexican flag and the American flag in the ring. And he just recently, he just won the gold medal at the Olympics. So, it was pretty cool.
Wow, when you're talking about a historical figure in boxing, whether it be a boxer or a promoter or whatever you might want to call him now. But, that was a historical moment in his life.
Yeah, and I remember, like, right after that, the president from Mexico invited him over to Mexico and had, a luncheon or dinner with him. And I want to say, I'll take credit for that. Because I gave him the Mexican flag.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the reason why he probably invited him was because he was, he gave him that respect and showed the Mexican flag. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I see Oscar. I've seen him here in the area. He'll come fly through when they're promoting fights, and when he was fighting actually too. Him and his entourage invited me to the back to the VIP area, which is pretty cool. I think the last time was when him and Floyd Mayweather were getting ready to fight, and they came to Dallas to promote the fight.
It's funny you say that. On Facebook, I have Raul Marquez Jr. as a friend, and he posted a picture of himself and Mayweather on. I think it was there in Texas for the Mayweather De La Hoya.
Okay, okay.
The press conference or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. They probably, I'm sure they flew through Houston promoting it also. 'Cause that's where Raul, actually that's where Raul's from.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're actually just like yesterday, yesterday or day before yesterday. We're all on Facebook, and but he was going by Raul and another name sounded like Marquez. We're all talking about our Olympic trials fight, about the controversy of it. It was boxers, Antoine Eccles, Patrice Brooks, a few of us, and we're all talking. And there was one guy named Raul somebody was making a bunch of comments, and he was going at everybody. And it ended up being Raul Marquez. he was using a native name, but he was just attacking everybody, just like attacking everybody. And just the way he is. I mean, that's the way we knew him. And somebody goes, "Man, can't y'all see that is Raul Marquez?" Because he was just attacking everybody. It was funny. It was crazy though. That is crazy, Raul.
You close off your amateur career, like you said, with the Olympics. There, you go on to decide to go pro, and as becoming a pro, on that first outing for your pro debut, what was it like for you knowing that you were gonna go into this ring with no shirt, without the headgear, with lighter gloves? You're going to be able to swing more, but at the same time get hit, with harder punches. What was it like for you in the dressing room before your first pro debut?
I'm getting ready for my fight, and it's pretty neat. Forward came out; they did a lot. My manager / he promoted the fight. This is something like different for me because I'm from Fort Worth, but I boxed out of North Carolina, Camp Virginia when I made the Olympic team. And then when I came home, I got out of the Marines a month after the Olympics. I came to Fort Worth, and so I was getting all this support from local fans, and then to see my picture on the bus stops of Fort Worth, that was pretty neat. And I was like, wow, it's like, and then to have the crowd there behind me, and and me wanting to do well for my fans. And it was good. It was great. It was at Will Rogers Coliseum here in Fort Worth. I won a 6-round decision. But yeah, Fort Worth was behind me. It's a big boxing city.
Just right off the bat, everybody knows you as this Olympian, and you're expected to do all this or have to, have to accomplish a lot in the pros now because you were quote unquote an Olympian. Was that extra stress for you going into the pros? Was that something that that you felt in your mind maybe that people were going to be expecting a whole lot from you for this reason?
Yeah, I did, and what I did is I just got in that gym and paid my dues, and
so you used it more like motivation then?
Yeah, more like motivation and wanting to do good for myself and my family. And we didn't grow up in poverty, but we didn't grow up rich either. My dad was in the construction field and concrete for many years, and he was able to put food on our table and support us. And as we went to school and into my boxing program, but I wanted to do well for my family, even though I'm single and was single then too. But I believe in hard work. I believe in this thing called the 3 Ds: dedication, determination, and desire. And that got me to the Olympics, and that got me to fight. I fought for the championship of the world, my 11th pro fight. I didn't have that many professional fights. When I was 9-0, I was ranked number 6 in the world, and then I took another fight. I was actually supposed to fight Orlando Canizales on my 10th pro fight, but the fight got postponed for a couple months, so I took another fight, a 2-0 fight, and I got in shape for that fight.
Just like Oscar De La Hoya, a lot of people said that he started fighting tough opposition really quick. Like you said, in under a dozen fights, you fight a guy like International Boxing Hall of Famer Orlando Canizales, who was just crushing everybody, and he was the top guy. What was it like? Knowing that you were going to be fighting this guy that was just a monster at that weight class and considered one of the best ever at that weight class. What was it like facing knowing that you were going to be facing this guy before the fight? Well, what was it like for you?
Like I said, I fought that my 10th pro fight, and I was actually supposed to be a fight Orlando on my 10th fight, but I took a tuna fight, and I got in shape for that fight, say 6 weeks, 8 weeks training, and I won that fight, a turnaround decision. I came home, I took about a week off, I got back in the gym. When I got back in the gym, I was already in shape. I was still in shape, and I took another 6 weeks to get ready for Orlando. And when I fought Orlando, I was in the best shape of my life. And we fought outdoors. It was 91 degrees outside, hot. And but I guess because of the shape that I was in, I was able to withstand that heat, and he wasn't, or whatever it was, or maybe I just was a better fighter at that day, that moment. And I beat him. I would say I beat him 10 out of the 12 rounds. I lost the first round. I lost the sixth round because he dropped me in the sixth round. But when the decision was read, they stole my dream. And after that, it wasn't the same. Orlando was a great fighter. Did his thing in boxing, but I went there that day afternoon and I beat him down. Just didn't get the decision. And as a matter of fact, October the 15th, which is a few days from now, will be 20 years. It's always it's hard. It's hard. That day is hard on me every year.
Wow, and to think and add to that, you were fighting him in his backyard, so go figure.
Yeah. I fought him in his backyard, and I'm not a fool, Felt like I could beat him, and I did, but I just didn't think that the boxing promoter that day, Cedric Kushner, and whoever else was involved, would do that, and they did though on national television.
And after that fight, and like you said, you felt like they stole your dream there. Did that discourage you? Did you start having second thoughts about the sport or staying here, or did that motivate you more to go forward and kick even more butt? I mean, what did that do for you coming out of that fight, feeling like you felt you won the fight? What was your attitude towards the sport itself?
The way I took it, I lost hope. I lost interest in the sport. A lot of people tell me that I should have been the other way around. They should have motivated me. But when you work so hard, and what you do now for a living, and you go to work, you're the best guy in what you do, and you go to work, and then all of a sudden they tell you, hey, instead of you making $100,000 a year, now you're going to be making $40,000 a year. That's what they told me after that fight. And I had a contract to make $500,000 in my next four fights in 1994. Instead, I made $7,500 my next fight. So,
and a lot of people don't understand that about fighters when they get robbed, or even in the amateurs, where they don't, really make money, but they're robbing people of their dreams. They're robbing people of their lives. It's a big deal, and all of us just might sit there, might complain or whatever, but we don't know what it does to you guys in the long run. This could really screw you guys up in every way, monetary wise and career wise, and just in life. It really hurts you. Like you said, you struggle with whatever you feel every year when that date passes by 10-15.
Yeah.
And your next fight, you said you fought for little money there. You fought a guy by the name of Mario Diaz. You took him on and won a 12-round unanimous decision.
Yeah, matter of fact, I fought Mario Diaz in Biloxi, Mississippi, and I won a decision over him. I had seen him fight. I don't know what. I had seen him fight before, and I feel like I take him, and I just got ready, trained just as hard as I did for my world championship fight. Won the decision over him. Slick fighter, and then on my first defense, I lost it to Anthony Guillon. I wasn't the same. After the Orlando fight, I wasn't the same fighter no more. And I was having some personal problems with the woman having my baby, and everything just had gone downhill after that Orlando fight. I lost focus, but I'm fortunate that today I have an awesome job. Love my job. I'm thankful to my father, Benjamin Reyes, for telling me back in 1998, hey, let's start up a concrete business, And I thought, I don't know nothing about concrete, but I'm glad I did. I do that nowadays, and I love my job.
like you said, after boxing, after your career ended and all that happened, looking back at your boxing career, or looking back at just the sport period, or how do you feel about the sport looking back at it?
And boxing made me who I am today. I hang out in my city, in Fort Worth, and people recognize me who I am, and they'll come up to me and still want to take a picture with me. If it's a boxing event, they'll still ask for my autograph. And I feel like I paid my dues when I was in the gym, and I was able to make a name for myself and my family, and I have no regrets. No, regardless of what happened in October 15th in Laredo, Texas, it took a lot out of me. But I look back at all the years since 1976 when I started boxing, and I wouldn't trade anything. I wouldn't want it any other way.
And even though you're going to be around for another 100 years, Sergio, when it's all said and done, how do you want what I call the three big F's to remember you? Your friends, your family, your fans. How do you want them all to remember Sergio Reyes?
Um, well, my friends and family who know me, uh, they know how hard I trained. You look back at all the guys that have made these past years, the Olympic team, the Olympic members in boxing. There's only 11 every 4 years, 12 back when I was going through it. I mean, it took a lot of hard work. I want them to remember me as a hard boxer, a hard trainer, one that went to the gym and took care of business. And I mean, I had 399 amateur wins, 22 losses, and just to remember me as a good person, a hard worker, even though I'm not that person, but my name is Sergio, and the name is derived from the word servant. But that's what I believe in. I believe what you put in, what you're gonna put out, what you're gonna get in return. And I've carried that into my business now, my concrete business, and I'm not done with just concrete itself. I got other things that I have that I'm saving for. That way I can open up a different type of business.
There's something about Olympians, man, that just gets my attention. And for some reason, I always feel like people lose respect for our USA Olympians. I don't know if it's because in the last several Olympics, there haven't been, a lot of, big time fighters have come out or whatever for whatever reason. But there's something about you guys that I've always respected. That you guys represent us. You guys represent the sport. What's good for it, and you guys, put us on the map in every way when you guys do what you do with all the pressure and all the sacrifice you guys do. So that's why I wanted to talk to you. That's why I want to talk to any Olympian that's out there, man, and just like you. And I appreciate you guys, and you guys deserve recognition for what you guys do and what you guys have done for us in our country. And I thank you very much for coming on to the boxingbar.com, my friend.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure, and I hope a kid out there, up and coming boxer, can hear my story, and maybe even make him get out there and put a little bit more effort, and we can see another kid come out like or bigger and better than Oscar, because we're a great boxing country, and there's a lot of, especially in the lower divisions of Hispanics, there's a lot of good fighters out here, and they just need that opportunity. And whether they go the route I went through the military or here in locally, I wish that kid the very best.
And like you said, your three Ds: the determination, the desire, and the dedication. And that's what you need to be successful.
Exactly. And I'm taking that to my professional business now. And if you look at my Facebook, I actually get jobs from Facebook, and so boxing has done this for me.
And Sergio, thank you very much. I know we went past our time of, how much you were supposed to stay on here, but thank you very much for doing so, and I appreciate your time, my friend.
Thank you, and y'all have a good day. God bless y'all.
Same to you. Thank you very much.